Good evening, good morning, everyone. So happy to see you all. Today is a kind of exciting day. We did a bit of a pivot to get our presentation ready for you. We had BOGOs here in the US last week, and I know many of you had the opportunity to take advantage of them. They are a usually twice a year type of thing, and we're going to go into all the things that you need to get the best out of what you just bought. And if you didn't get those oils, but maybe you have them in your cabinet, you're going to find out some wonderful new ways to use your essential oils. So let's get started. If someone can see my screen, if you can just let me know in the chat, I would really appreciate it. That would be so wonderful because it would help me. Yes, you can see my screen. Thank you so much, everyone. We're going to be talking today about the wonderful world of essential oils, but specifically about our BOGOs. BOGOs were a kind of fun addition. I did not expect to get the BOGOs a week before Thanksgiving. Many of you may know that this coming Thursday is Thanksgiving here in the United States, which is why I'm in Chicago. And I don't know if you can see, I'm kind of on a high floor of a hotel looking out, and the sun is just coming up. It's 7 a.m. here. Really exciting. I think it's going to be a beautiful day. It is freezing cold. I don't know if you can notice, but I'm in a fleece vest. It is -5 degrees centigrade. For those of you who are in the US, that's about 22 or 23 Fahrenheit. It's supposed to get a little warmer, but really not that much. So I'm going to be bundling up when I go out. I walked down to the lobby actually to pick up a cup of coffee before I got started. Actually, I have tea here. I got my tea bag and I've got my coffee going on, and it's cold. It's really cold. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about BOGOs. Why are BOGOs such an amazing thing? First of all, I want to let you know that many of the ideas expressed in today's presentation are from the book, Essential Oils Healthcare for Today, a beginner's guide. It's a great way for you to get started. If you haven't heard about it already, you may have, because I talk about it all the time, but it's a quick way for you to figure out how to get your health kind of aligned, if you will, as you're going into the new year with 90-day plans. So those are plans for you to help your health in 90 days. So I have my BOGOs. Now what? Ignore the Siberian fir, Douglas fir, because we don't have those BOGOs, but I want to welcome you and make sure you know why you're here. So last week, and you may be thinking, well, I didn't have BOGOs where I live. Nope, that's absolutely true. You may not have had BOGOs, but you may have BOGOs in the next couple of weeks. My goal is to teach you about what the products were that we had in our BOGO in the US, but it's also to talk to you about some of the basics and why we need them now. Because I think one of the reasons why we get BOGOs, there's a couple of reasons, and I'm going to talk about those in a minute. So I would say twice a year we get a BOGO box. We get some sort of a BOGO promotion. Lately, about the last year or so, first day one, you get a BOGO box, which is basically 5 products are revealed to you. And I'm going to use 5 as the number. It's not always 5. 5 are revealed to you, and then 5 are the mystery oils. So you have your choice. You can get either buy the BOGO box and get all 10 or 12 or 11 or whatever the oil number is in the box, or you can buy them day by day. Now, there's pluses and minuses to each one. If you are the type of person who just loves surprises, then the BOGO box is absolutely for you, and it is going to be your best value. If, however, you're not the type of person who likes surprises and really feels like, oh, I bet there's going to be something in that box that I'm not going to like, I don't like surprises, then maybe you're the kind of person who needs to purchase your essential oils every day. However, if you purchase the box, there's always some sort of a benefit. So I'm going to go through with you day by day what we got in the box. Also, I'm showing you here a little bit about what we got, but I'm going to have a better photo for you in about a second. Here we go. So this was the best way to BOGO. And you got lavender, turmeric capsules, On Guard, Copaiba, and rose roll-on. And the additional product for the first day in the box that was just revealed was buy the box and get the Adaptive Touch roll-on for free. So what did that mean? If you bought the box, you would get the roll-on. If you decided to purchase every day, You did not get the roll-on. So you have to kind of think about it. And the price was 197 US dollars with 182 PV, really a very good price. And for all those products, I have to say one of my favorite things about BOGOs is that you get a lot of bang for your buck. I'm going to talk about bang for your buck, but I think these are just super cool and a great set of products. So what do we get when we start our BOGO? Couple of things. We get products that we need and we get products that we can use in the future. So we may get something we've never tried before. That's great. And in some BOGO boxes, we've gotten some mystery oils or some oils that were just completely unexpected. And I think all of that is really good. The other thing that we get in BOGO boxes is we get actually two extra things. We get a way of restocking what we already have. So BOGOs sometimes go out on a limb and have something really unusual, but a lot of times BOGO boxes just carry things, everyday products. And this year is no different. There's a couple of everyday products in there that we are using all the time on repeat with my family. And I know with you and your families too. That's a great way for you to stock up, especially as we go into this holiday season. We want to protect ourselves from seasonal threats. And that's whether you're living in a warm or a cold climate, or you're in a super cold climate like I am right now. And I'm going to be here today and again next Monday. Doesn't matter. This is the time of year where we're meeting and greeting a lot of people. We're getting together in groups. Maybe we're socializing or we're having some sort of a party. We want to make sure that we're keeping ourselves healthy, right? Healthy and strong. That's really the goal. And if we know anything about these last 2 years of dealing with the pandemic, keeping yourself healthy is really your best defense, right? A best defense is kind of an offense, getting out there, taking your products. So your number one product you're going to get is your adaptive roll-on. Many of you are familiar with adaptive roll-on. If you're not familiar with it, we're going to talk about it in a second, but let's talk about some of the others. Let's talk about day one. Okay, so day one, I'm not even actually going to talk too much about lavender because I feel all of you know about lavender. You've used it before, you know how to get it. I mean, we know that it's wonderful for sleep, it's for your feet, it's for your skin, it's for relaxation, using it on your pillows and bed linens. It has so many uses. But I want to talk a little bit more about arborvitae, and then I want to talk about putting these two together. That's really what we want to talk about here. So arborvitae is an amazing cleanser. It's used for any sort of fungal issues that you might have. So you could be using that on your feet if you wanted to. You could apply it if you had a fungal issue. You can also use it for viruses. So we want to use it in cleaning. It has a very strong woody scent to it. So if you're thinking about using it in your house, you could use it on your wood furniture. You could use it to polish anything that you had, but it's going to give that kind of woody, foresty smell, almost like a lumber yard, if you will. I have had mixed feelings about cedar wood, but one of the ways I do like to blend cedar wood right now is kind of making almost like a men's cologne. So I'm blending arborvitae, cedar wood, and frankincense together. And those three with some fractionated coconut oil, because they're really strong, make a very woody, wintry, fallish kind of a scent. And I also think that they're terrific for protecting not only my immune system, but for protecting my respiratory system, because we want to make sure our respiratory system is really strong and healthy as we go into this next part of the year. Arborvitae, excellent for respiratory issues. It's a bug repellent. I'm not seeing that many bugs where I am. Most of the bugs around here are dead, but I'm sure you're seeing some bugs where you are, depending where you are. So you may want to be using those maybe in your kitchen or your bathroom, wherever you're seeing bugs. Bugs do not like arborvitae, so just keep that in mind. You can use it for bacterial support. So you would be applying it. You could apply 1 to 2 drops to the bottom of the feet with fractionated coconut oil. You could also spray it diluted in water on surfaces to kill airborne germs. So you want to make sure that you're using your arborvitae, make sure you're testing it. I don't know what kind of countertops you have or what kind of furniture you have. Make sure you test it first on a small area. We want to make sure that your furniture stays intact. But if it's appropriate for you, it could be a really wonderful way for you to just protect your home and your family. It's also known as an oil of meditation and emotional balance. And I think that's because of its strong woody scent. When you're using your arborvitae, you can either apply it to some of your chakras, or you can use it for emotional balance in general by smelling it, putting it in a diffuser, blending it with your lavender. And here's when you get into the 1-2 punch of your lavender and arborvitae. We know that lavender is a calming oil, so we put our lavender with our arborvitae. We can get a really wonderful way of just, I don't know, using our oils in a way that are synergistic, right? The sum of the parts is great. The whole is greater than the sum of the parts, right? So we're adding 1 lavender and 1 arborvitae. We're actually getting a bigger boost than we ever thought we could get. Okay, turmeric and on guard. Now we love turmeric and on guard, and I'm actually going to talk a little bit more in a minute. On day 3, we're going to get on guard essential oil, but here we're talking specifically about the capsules. Now I want to ask in the chat, who is using both of these capsules and who's using them together? I'm going to give you a second and you let me know. Anna Matthew says she's using them. Anybody else? I'm looking in the chat. Maybe I'm not looking in the chat. Okay. Charmaine says On Guard Plus is superb. Francis King says I take every day. Great. I'm also taking turmeric and On Guard every day. I've been doing a lot of driving. On Guard, turmeric specifically, is a fabulous anti-inflammatory. That's why we're using our On Guard. That's why we're using our turmeric. Our turmeric has compounds in it that will help to reduce inflammation and oxidative stress. So what do we have more now than anything else? Oxidative stress. We've been under tremendous amount of stress. We may not have been refreshing ourselves and cleansing as much as we wanted to. We're also maybe not getting outdoors, maybe for weather reasons, or maybe for reasons because our government or our local municipality says you can't go outdoors right now. You can't socialize. You can't go see other people. We don't want you walking around in parks and things. And just get a sip of coffee here. I'm getting so excited. I'm like getting choked up. So you want to make sure that you're getting rid of your oxidative stress. You want to think like any sort of joint pain or any discomfort that you might have throughout the body. Here's the other thing. Inflammation in general is one of the #1 causes of any sort of ailment. When during the pandemic, I noticed that I was probably eating a lot of salty foods and my fingers actually felt swollen all the time. That's not a good thing. We want to make sure that our circulation is working properly. We want to make sure that we are releasing toxins from our body. That means maybe my lymphatic system wasn't working exactly the way it should be. I started taking my turmeric capsules, and right away I began to see that stress and also that inflammation go down. So I don't have any rings on right now because I got up super early, but I did start to notice that rings that I hadn't been able to use for the longest time were actually slipping on my finger quite easily. We need to reduce inflammation because all of that chronic inflammation, not good for us in the long run, our psyche, our physical body, and also our mental and emotional states. Very important that we reduce our oxidative stress and our inflammation. Now, if you're thinking about keeping your body healthy and reducing inflammation, turmeric and On Guard together are one of the best combinations that you can possibly use. I would only surpass it by perhaps adding Copaiba capsules in here. The reason I love Copaiba capsules, and I love Copaiba in general, is that it is one of those magnifiers. It's an oil that magnifies the things that we do, and it helps us to really get a better synergistic effect. But turmeric plus On Guard, especially now, I would say probably through Chinese New Year, this is the time for you to be using this 1-2 punch. Use them together. Now, if you have any issues with stomach upset, you can always freeze your On Guard capsules. You can separate them. When I say take them together, you don't necessarily have to take them immediately with a glass of water at the same time. Just within the same 24-hour period, you're getting some of those compounds in your body at the same time. Use your turmeric capsules and use your On Guard capsules. Okay, now here we are with our On Guard oil and our Breathe oil. Here's when we begin to think about our children and our environment. A quick question from Maria Margaretha says, can we take turmeric and On Guard capsule even when we're healthy? Yes, absolutely. Right now, thank goodness, I'm feeling very healthy, but I'm continuing to take it because I know that we're under stress. And I know that I'm going into a season where I'm going to be meeting more people. I don't know if you know this, I think I've mentioned it before. My husband has a very big family and we're out here with just kind of immediate family, my husband and one of his brothers and their children and their grandchildren and my kids and just the cousins. And we're already about 20 people. Now, I think that group will be growing. Some of us are staying in hotels, some of us are staying in the house, but it just means there's a lot more interaction with other people that work, people that stay home, moms, babies, teenagers. We've got a lot going, college students. We've got a lot going on and there's a lot of interactions. You want to make sure that you're staying as healthy as possible. Norman is asking for overall body pain management. Is turmeric or Copaiba better? I have to say on a daily basis, I take turmeric and Copaiba. If you're in the habit of taking the deep blue capsules, you can take your deep blue capsules and your Copaiba, but I really feel like Copaiba with something else makes that thing, whatever it is, so much more powerful. We're going to talk a little bit more about Copaiba in the future. Norman says, deep blue. Yes. Want to keep using our deep blue. We can decrease our inflammation with deep blue. So I don't know. The other thing I didn't mention to you is they actually drove here with my husband. We're going to be here about 10 days. So we wanted to make sure we had a car available to us and just a nice time of the year to get out and take a nice long drive. We did it in 2 days, even though we could have probably done it in one, but because you're sitting like this for hours and hours driving a car. And even if I'm not driving, because my husband drove 100% of the time. I don't want to tell a lie. He did not let me drive. I was the passenger the whole time, both days. It's the way it is. Even as a passenger, you tend to sit like this, or you're sitting like this, or you're leaning up from one side to the other, and eventually you start getting cricks in your neck. I know that those cricks in my neck will go away, but last night I was actually putting Breathe on my back, my neck, and my chest. Why? Because it has peppermint in it, it has eucalyptus in it, it has cardamom in it that can reduce stress and reduce tension. Here's the other thing. In the car, the air is pretty contained. When you go into hotels, we don't know what they use for cleaning. We want to make sure that our breathing, our respiratory system is supported, right? Wherever it is that we're going, we have our steady state, those products that we take again and again and again. In fact, I have my little oil bag right here. Hold on, just reach for it. This is an oldie but a goodie. I know you can't see that, what's in there. But what do I have in here? I have my deep blue, 5 ml deep blue. I have a peppermint, a Breathe, a Digestion, an On Guard, a grapefruit, melaleuca, cedarwood, wild orange, and frankincense. And you could say, why those? Why not Serenity? How come you forgot lavender? I honestly did forget lavender. That would have been a great addition. I've got things like peppermint beadlets, but I also have Copaiba capsules, and I've got a couple of other capsules with me also, so that as the week progresses, depending what I've eaten, what I'm feeling, I'm going to have those oils available to me to use the whole week. So when we talk about using 1-2 punch for essential oils, I would say On Guard and Breathe are your number 1, 2. I put my On Guard on my feet last night before I went to sleep. I'm in a hotel, don't know what's going on the floor. And I've also got my Breathe, put it on my chest, as I said, my back and my neck. And I put it right here in that kind of, I don't know, cricky portion of my neck that always gets stiff whenever I'm on a long drive. Vincent says, I'm having pain on my lower back right side. I'm wondering what to take. Deep blue or Copaiba is better, or both. Here's the thing. If you're going to apply an essential oil, I always like to layer. So if you're going to apply, say, your deep blue with your Copaiba on top, wonderful. If you're going to take capsules and you've never taken them layered before, maybe take one, see how you feel, and then take the second one about an hour or two later. We always want to be mindful, if the pain is not muscular, that eventually we get ourselves to some sort of a clinic or something to have it looked at. But whenever we're just thinking, oh, I strained my arm, or I lifted up too fast, or I was carrying heavy packages, make sure you know what you're dealing with before you start diagnosing yourself. But yes, I would always layer 2 essential oils together, and I would layer Copaiba with just about everything. Nazra says to remind me that she usually uses past tense when she experiences slight tension in her neck. And yeah, I wish I had my past tense with me, but I don't. I'm also finding that the peppermint's really good. In fact, when we were driving in the car, and I don't know if you've ever done this, some of you probably have, I couldn't get to my oils because they were stuck in the trunk, buried under a whole bunch of other things. I took a peppermint beadlet and just crushed it between my fingers. As we know, it is a half a drop of peppermint oil with some fractionated coconut oil. And I took that crushed peppermint beadlet and put that on the, irritated part of my neck that was just really driving me nutty. And I'm already noticing this morning, because I got a pretty good sleep last night, and I've settled in now that I'm beginning to feel that relaxation and just getting rid of that stress. Okay, on day 4, we got our Copaiba and our wintergreen. Folks, this is a fabulous 1-2 punch. I know we love our deep blue, but our wintergreen is amazing. And since you just got it in your BOGO box, please start using them together. I love wintergreen alone. My mother was a devoted user of wintergreen. She had it in her diffuser. She applied it to all her achy joints and muscles whenever she was getting ready for bed. She put it on her feet with her On Guard. And I think the salicylic acid, which is methyl salicylate, which is the key ingredient or the primary ingredient in wintergreen. And interestingly enough, it is one of those oils where there's only 2 ingredients, and methyl salicylate makes up 99% of wintergreen. Who knew? Our wintergreen also comes from Nepal. Combined with the Copaiba essential oil, it is a terrific 1-2 punch for any sort of discomfort. I would apply it to my head if I had head discomfort, or any of my muscles. I would use it during a massage. I would also be any kind of tension or stress that I had on my body, just kind of melting away any of those discomforts that I might have. So let's talk a little bit more about Copaiba. I have some details for you about ways that you can pair Copaiba that you've maybe haven't used before. I'm using a different sort of screen today, so I'm going to have to get those for you at the end. But one of the ones that I'm reminded of right now, I've already mentioned to you using deep blue and Copaiba. The other one that I absolutely love, especially when I'm having difficulty sleeping, is Copaiba and Serenity or Lavender Peace, depending on where you're located in the world. That same oil has a different name. Use the 2 oils together or use the 2 capsules together. Both of them are really wonderful. I think you're going to enjoy them, and you're going to see the effects much more quickly and much more effectively. So pair your Copaiba with other things, and you're going to see a much more synergistic effect. I'm going to add that into the chat once we finish our presentation. BOGO number 5, day number 5, is actually a super powerhouse. You wound up, if you bought the Rose Roll-On, you got peppermint and helichrysum for free. Here's something interesting. You may not know this. Both rose and helichrysum are flower oils, and paired with a mint oil, they can be very effective for just absorption into the tissues. Peppermint is known as something that I call a driver. So while Copaiba can be an amplifier, amplifying effects, peppermint actually pushes the oil more deeply into the tissues. So if you need something to really go deeply into your muscles, peppermint's the oil for you. These 3 oils together can be applied, of course, together, or they can be used individually. Your rose stands out as something amazing and different. It is one of those oils that is thermogenic, which means it is warming to the body. Rose essential oil, whether you're using it individually or you're using it in conjunction with other essential oils. And I have to say, I use my rose alone quite a bit. I don't blend it with many other things. I do use my rose though in my diffusers. So you could even, if you do have the rose roll-on, you can pop off that little ball. You can use it in your diffuser. But let me give you a couple of other ways you want to be using your rose. You can be using your rose for low libido. You can diffuse it or inhale it from your cupped hands. You can also apply it to your abdomen or the bottoms of your feet. You can use it for bacterial infections, scars, and wounds. And we're talking about topical now, right? So if you have a wound and you're concerned about it, it's not looking like it's healing, apply your rose to it. You can use it for grief. Rose is an uplifter. It's an oil that you can use diffusing. Put it over your heart. If you're feeling sad, use your rose. Some of the other ways that you can use rose, if you're feeling after maybe you just had a baby, use your rose. It's feminine, it's beautiful, it's going to help you and the baby. Don't apply it to the breasts, ladies. If you are nursing, I don't know if the baby would necessarily like the taste of it, but you can apply it to other parts of your body and just help you to get over that postpartum time when you're just maybe stressed or super tired and you're in recovery and repair. Treat yourself with kindness. You can also use your rose and your helichrysum at the same time. You can use your rose for irregular menstruation. It can help, you would apply it right over the abdomen, and that could be applied during the cycle or throughout the month, just so that your cycle begins to regulate itself. Any sort of nerve issues, we want to use our rose. So we're talking about peripheral nerve issues that can be in the hands or the feet. Take out your rose, apply it to those fingers and toes, the ankles, to the lower extremities of our bodies. Rose is a really good oil for that. And you can be applying your rose with your helichrysum. Your rose is going to help with blood flow to those areas, and your helichrysum is going to help with with healing. I've also heard of people who have applied helichrysum around the outside of their ear for any sort of hearing issues or tinnitus. You could also apply it with your rose. Gently around the outside of the ear. We know we never pour our essential oils into our ear, but that 1-2 combo is a very good one. You can use your rose, of course, for your face and your skin, whether you have some maybe broken capillaries on your face or you have some blemishes that you want to work on. Rose is a wonderful addition to your facial routine, whatever kind of facial routine. You also want to look for any sort of reproductive issues, or for men that are specifically dealing with issues of impotency, perhaps applying the essential oils on the lower abdomen and also on the navel. So use your rose. And finally, emotional balance. When we think about rose, and when we, of course, using rose for grief, it's going to bring us back into a centered space. So I hope that gives you a couple of additional ways that you could be using your rose. Let's talk a little bit about helichrysum. I feel like I don't need to talk about peppermint too much, because you've all used peppermint for a really long time. As I think I've mentioned to you before, my mom was a devotee of helichrysum, using, I have to say, almost a bottle a week. We went through when my mom was still living with me. Now she uses a little bit less. Her memory is not as good as it once was. And so she uses other oils that are more highly fragrant, because for her, she associates them with certain things, including her serenity and her deep blue. So those are oils that I guess trigger memories for her, but the helichrysum, not as much. Helichrysum can be used for any sort of bleeding. So whether you're talking about someone gets a nosebleed and you want to help them quickly, apply it to the bridge of the nose or the top of the nose and here onto the sinuses to help them stop that quickly. It's also great for wounds and healing, like your rose is, which is great why you want to use them together. If you're in any sort of shock, again, we're talking about nerve damage. So we talked about before, applying your rose and your helichrysum together. Any sort of addictions, you can be applying 1 to 2 drops, maybe on your wrist so you can smell it. Also on your abdomen, maybe applying it to your chest so that you can use your helichrysum oil to get over that hump, right? You're trying to resist something, use your helichrysum oil. Great for skin conditions. You can also use it for your veins, to support your veins in any way that you may need to, whether that's on your legs. Ladies, you may have spider veins, or you may have more serious vein conditions. Use your helichrysum on your veins to support them. Sinus congestion, you can roll it right here onto your sinuses. It's also fairly mild smelling. I would probably use my helichrysum roll-on on a child. Why? Because it wouldn't get into their face. Sometimes kids don't like breathe because it makes them blink a little bit, except for the gel stick, which is super mild, but you can use your helichrysum for any sort of sinus congestion. And then last but not least, or maybe two last but not least, one is for liver issues. Helichrysum is a wonderful support for the liver. You can roll it on. I would be applying it now during the holiday season. If you're going to be drinking alcohol, you're going to be drinking maybe a little bit more alcohol than you've been drinking. Last night I went to my family's house, and I was the one drinking water for most of the night. And then at the very end, someone asked me if I wanted some Benedictine, which is like a little, it's like a brandy. And I had a little tiny glass about this big. If I start doing that every night, you bet your bottom dollar I'm going to be applying my helichrysum over the liver. Don't know if I will. It was delicious, but really once is enough. Water or tea is kind of my game, especially during the holidays. I want to really ratchet it down. There's a lot of foods that we never eat during the year. So if you add food and alcohol and staying up late and exposure to other people, you can just wind up not enjoying the holidays that much at all. So make sure you're taking care of yourself. Now, I know that I'm talking really fast and I'm not providing a lot of notes. So you may have to listen to this presentation again and pass it along to a friend. For all of my YouTube friends, I'm so happy that you were here. There's a lot of information. I'm trying to be as compliant as possible, that I hope you're getting the good, juicy information that I wanna make sure that you get. Thank you everybody for having been here. I know this was sort of a short one. I'm the last but not least in the chat. I'm gonna post the ways that you can use your Copaiba with other oils. Of course, please follow on all social media. We're going to be posting some fun things in the weeks ahead, whether you're following on Facebook or on Instagram. And then finally, to all of our YouTube friends, I want to send out a special thank you to you. Please click the subscribe button and ring the bell so that you get notification each and every time we have a brand new presentation. We're going to be back again next week with our regularly scheduled programming. We did not expect that we're going to be doing a BOGO presentation, but this is kind of fun and just a quick one for all of us to enjoy and get a little bit more information. What did you buy? What did you get? I don't know if I mentioned Adaptive as much as I probably should have, but one of the things that I do want to mention about Adaptive before I close is that it is an entire system. So Adaptive has three parts to it: the roll-on, the essential 15 milliliter essential oil, and the adaptive capsules. While we provided in the BOGO box, dōTERRA provided in the BOGO box, the roll-on, I strongly recommend that you pursue, if you're having any sort of emotional balance issues, pursue the other products and make sure you're using them together. Synergistically, they are going to work really well for you. Whether you're taking the capsules internally, diffusing the essential oil directly, and then applying the roll-on throughout the day. Using the roll-on is going to help you, but using the three products together is really what's going to give you that 1-2 punch. And the great thing about Adaptive is it is a blend of citrus and floral, which is very, very uplifting, mood strengthening, if you will, and emotionally balancing. So I hope that helps everybody. I'm going to stop the share. Here we go. Okay, I am back. Let me give you that quick tip on from the presentation on Copaiba, because I think there's some great synergistic effects here that you might not have heard of before. We're in the home stretch, folks. It's unbelievable. We've been walking with each other for the last, I don't even know, 48 weeks or 46 weeks of this year. But for those of you who don't know, we've been walking together actually for years and years. And this community has been a super supportive one, not just for me, but for all of you. I think all of us getting together on a weekly basis. And I'm so proud to say that I get to see you every single week. And even though we can't see each other face to face and I don't know, give each other a hug and just sit and break bread together, this is, while it's a poor substitute, it is a necessary one. And I'm so grateful that I get to see each and every one of you every single week. So for those of you who are on every week, thank you for always being on. And for those of you who are new today, I'm so glad that you're here and that you got to join us. Now we're going to say farewell to our YouTube friends. We'll see you back here on this channel again next week at the same time. And for those of you who are on live, please stay on. We're going to have a little bit of a giveaway. In the meantime, have a wonderful week. And thank you so much for having been here. Bye-bye now.